Hello and welcome to my dream apartment in Paralives, or at least what my dream version of this particular apartment would be, because I wanted my para to live in a very small one. And as far as I know, this is the smallest one in the game. And I also really liked that it had a few stories because I wanted my brother to live on the top floor, but that will be something that you will see in a different video. I started with the bathroom because I wanted to make it a little bit smaller so that I could have more space in the other rooms and make sure I could fit everything. And at first I was going to use this corner shower, but I ended up deciding to change the layout of the bathroom, so I left in a lot of the process of the bathroom at first, because this is where I got most of the clutter and other things that I was using, and then I just rearranged it. I also really liked using this potted plant that looks like a little duck, because I just think it's funny to have that in a bathroom. But yeah, I kept the same sink and toilet and stuff. I also tried to have a hanging towel. I really hope that we get towels soon, or somebody adds them as custom content, because it's just something that I feel is really missing from the game. We have a lot of stuff that we don't have in other games, so stuff like different toiletries and stuff for personal care. I think it's really cool that we have it in Paralives, but I just think that it's a shame that we don't have like bathrobes or hanging towels. I'm hoping that we will get a towel rod that we can actually stretch and make it as big or as small as we need it. But yeah, that's just something that I would like to see and that I have no idea if it's coming. But yeah, we left the bathroom for a bit and now we're going to be concentrating on the office space. I'm a graphic designer and I also enjoy painting, so I also wanted to have like an easel and some more art supplies and stuff, and I also really enjoy reading, so I made sure that there would be a lot of books in this apartment, which I'm really happy about how cluttering works in this game and how many stacks of books we have, so that is something that I have been enjoying a lot. And I also thought that it would be cool to have a stool with some of those art supplies on it, because I didn't want to have like a huge desk with everything. I just wanted to have a computer and like some sketchbooks and stuff, and a lamp and such. I also got a plant which I thought was pretty cute in that corner, and later I added some canvases, but you won't see that because I had completely forgotten about them. But yeah, on top of that bookshelf I added the skull and the skull planter as well as the cauldron, because this is going to be more of a mid-century modern kind of apartment, which is some of my favorite styles, but I also really enjoy things like skulls and like the occult things. So yeah, I also added that. I actually have a witch's hat in my bedroom just on top of a lamp, so it just made sense to me. And in the kitchen I decided to have these beautiful blue cabinets, but I did change the countertops to be a dark brown, and I felt that worked out a lot better. I also think that having the kitchen in this corner made a lot more sense, because I felt like it was too small for a living room, but a kitchen was a lot easier to add in here. The table and chairs are going to be very small. I just have like 2 chairs, but it made sense for me, especially since I was going to have my brother living upstairs. So yeah, I just felt like it wouldn't be like terrible to have a smaller dining space, and the living room is quite large, I think. So yeah, I also really wanted to have some open shelving here in the kitchen. I was very excited to see that there were like baking pans, and I also really liked the idea of having all of these dishes on display and some tins of stuff. I really like having stuff in tins, and I did change the color of the dishes later on as well. And I also think that I didn't keep the tile in that white color. I have it in like a cream color that matches the walls. Although the walls are not going to stay in this color, and it actually took me forever to actually find the shade that I wanted to use for this. So I think I used the same brick texture, but in a color that was closer to this cream one. I cut out most of that because it was just endless, and I was very frustrated while I was doing that. So yeah, I have already added the table and some clutter to it. I made it smaller so that it would fit in that space, and I also remembered to add some speakers to the desk. I only added one of them, but there's a little gap in between some of the books at a similar height to where I was putting the other speakers, so I actually do have two of them. I kept playing in this apartment while I was also decorating my brother's space, and then later on, so you might see that there's some paintings from the collectibles in the hallways, and so there's some stuff that I have been adding to it throughout days, so you will see a slightly different version of it in the screenshots, but this is mainly what the apartment looks like. And I am also going to have it on the Steam workshop, but I was also thinking about having a cafe on the ground level, so I will have to do that before I upload this, but I will have it linked in the description and everything in case you would like to get it when I actually upload it. But yeah, I really enjoyed adding this couch. I have always just had this vision of a yellow couch with dark blue pillows. It's just something that I think is really cool and that I would love to have. I know that it's probably going to be a very difficult color to keep clean and, looking decent, but I thought that in the game it was something that could be easily just managed. And I also made sure to add a gaming console because I just thought it was really cool that it has the controller, and I wanted to have a turntable because I do enjoy vinyls, and I was thinking that maybe the vinyl storage would be underneath this console, and I added a mobile console which I made green because that's the color of my cell phone, even though my Steam Deck is gray. But yeah, I would really like it to be a much cuter color, so in the game I am able to actually do that. But now we are working on the bathroom, and we have changed it to the layout that I ended up keeping. And I really had a hard time with these cabinets and having enough space for them and the door. I couldn't really move the wall the way that I wanted it to. So what I ended up doing was that I made the wall on that side a lot thicker, and I also added a smaller half wall as a shelf because I felt like that worked a lot better than having the actual shelf. And another thing that I ended up changing was that I got a regular shelf, but I painted it in the same texture and color as the tiles on the wall, so it looks like it is all tiled, because it was kind of really bothering me how the top of it was white and it just, you couldn't snap anything to the top of that. You actually need a shelf for that. So I thought that was a lot, it just looked better, it looked more integrated to the space. But yeah, on the entryway I wanted to have some more shelves, and I actually didn't keep this unit. You don't see this because I did it afterwards, but I remembered that I had the open shelving in the kitchen that was a lot less. I just didn't like the style of these particular shelves. I thought that it would be nicer to have some shelves that were like plainer and simpler. So yeah, you will also see that in the screenshots, and I wanted to have some books in here as well as some containers so that there could be, just regular little trinkets inside. And I added the larger boxes underneath it, and I also got a suitcase which actually fit very well in that other open shelving unit that I had added. I also swapped the mirror for the one in the bathroom, and I got a sort of oval shaped one in there because I just couldn't find one that felt like it fit in here, and I just really wanted to use this one, so I didn't want it to have it repeat in the bathroom. I also really liked adding the van from Outbound because I actually really love combis and the classic Beetles, so I have a little collection of die-cast Volkswagen Beetles, so yeah, it just felt very me to have that. But we're back in the kitchen. We are changing the color of the appliances, and for now the wall is blue, but I did change it to that other one, as I said, and I changed the color of the plates and the cups and stuff. And I thought that it was nice to have this green because it is one of those colors that I really liked, as I also added my cell phone onto that entryway in that like trinket dish, and it is that same color. So I just really like the idea of bringing it in, and it matched the kettle, so I really like that. And another thing that I was very excited about was that you can actually add your own images to the photo frames. And as I said, I am a designer and an illustrator, so I added some of my own artwork in there. I've been thinking about making it more like friendly for it to be so small, so I'm thinking maybe I will edit it in Photoshop or just convert it to a digital one, because this was actually, I used wash to paint it, so yeah, that's something that I have been thinking about. I also enjoyed adding that donut cushion to the floor. I made it larger so that it looked like it could be a pet bed, so when we get pets I can actually add my dog into the game. I think that's going to be really cute. But now we're in the bedroom. At first I tried to have the bed match the color scheme that I had going on in the living room, and I just didn't like it. It didn't feel like me. It didn't feel relaxing enough. So I ended up changing that, and that's something else that I cut out because it was taking me forever to do that. Oh, and I added the mat on the entryway that you can actually add your own text to it, and it says hi. So I thought that was cute, and that's just something that I enjoy in my language. So yeah. But then I decided that I could actually use the collectible artwork that you find in the game as inspiration for the bedroom, and this one is called the Equatorial Jungle, and I really like it. It has this green that I was trying to incorporate, and also some pink, so I thought that was a lot more relaxing and better for a bedroom. And I got that same pink on the ottoman and the green on that suitcase. I also added that oddity item that you can buy at the Sunday market. I thought it was really cool. It's like a mirror with the skeleton of a snake, so it just felt like something that I would have. And next to it I just have some of the plushies from the unpacking update, which again it just felt like me. I also added some books to the nightstand and an alarm clock, as well as one of those collectible items that's a vase and a radio, because I just found it very cute. It's like a vintage kind of item, and it was another opportunity to have that green accent. And I also added the postcards on the wall that are hanging from laundry. What do you call these? Well, you get the idea. So because I actually have a similar thing in my bedroom, it's actually also postcards, because I collect postcards, or at least that's something that I tell myself that I do. And yeah, I was excited to be able to use that item, and it felt like it made more sense to have that on that other wall than to have it above the bed. And yeah, we're back in the kitchen just adding some more clutter. I wanted to add this teapot because tea and coffee is something that I also enjoy. And I also made sure to add the yoga mat into the bedroom because I do sometimes practice Pilates, and it felt like a decent use of the space because of how long this bedroom is. But yeah, I just changed the way that the artwork was on the living room. I really liked the idea of having a band poster, and I also wanted to have a different color on that lamp. And I also really liked the idea of that lamp being able to light up the living room or the art space. So yeah, that's it for the video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed it. And as I said, I will be decorating the upstairs in a later video. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you again soon. Bye!